Hello, hello. Welcome to this late stream. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me and if you can see me, please. We got 4 people coming here so far. I know it's pretty late. It's pretty late for me. I'd be going to sleep pretty soon. Coding Mastery is here. Hello. I recognize that name. Comes to all the streams. And Vitautas. Hope I'm saying that right. Confirm that they can hear me. John Draw says I'm an Apple developer. J-Tech. Wait a minute. Oh, it's the same person. Eastern time. Well, you're in the same time zone as me then. Wait a second. We have 3 people with the same avatar. I think it's the same person. Okay. So, what are we doing today, folks? What are we doing? I don't want to keep you all up too late here. And I don't want to stay up too late. But I thought I'd do an impromptu little stream tonight to check out Flutter. This is going to be my first time using Flutter. Not really using it. I'm just going to set it up and run it and see if the Hello World application works. And we're going to do this on 2 machines. I got my MacBook Pro Intel. Flutter should work just fine on that. And I also have my MacBook Air M1. Flutter should also work on that, but it's going to work through Rosetta Translation because as of right now, I don't think there is an ARM version of that yet. So we're going to be doing more Flutter tests later on, but for now this is a good getting starting point. And I don't have these machines labeled today, but this one, the one with the modern background, this is the MacBook Air, and this one with the island scene, this is the MacBook Pro. Just so you know. So let's kick things off. By the way, anybody here from, we got Felipe from Brazil. Nicola says greetings. Hi, Nicola. By the way, anybody is here a Flutter developer or React Native or Native Script? Let me know in the chat. Just curious to see what everybody's doing out there. So I'm going to kick things off, I think, on this machine, the MacBook Pro. And guess what? I don't know anything about Flutter. I'm not a Flutter developer, so I'm going to start from scratch. Let's go to Flutter. There it is. So we're going to start right from the beginning. And there's a big old Getting Started button. Let's check it out. We are on Mac. Now I did glance at this documentation earlier today, so I know that there's some kind of installer that you can download, but we're gonna go with this. I think. Yeah. This is only suggested for advanced use cases. I don't know how advanced the use case that I'm doing is, but hey, why not? Alright, so Felipe is a Flutter developer. Coding Mastery is a React developer. We got a bunch of folks here. Oh, Coding Mastery is going to start Flutter. This will help me. I don't know how much help I'm going to give you, but maybe we can start this together. So I'm going to kick things off right here with this line. We're going to git clone the Flutter repo, I guess, and start from there. So I'm going to pop open a terminal, and I'm going to make a directory called Flutter for all my Flutter stuff. Let's go in there. I'm going to make this bigger so you can all see it. And I'm going to git clone that repo. Okay. Now, if one of these things is taking too long, I'm going to switch over to the other machine and do it there as well, so we don't have to waste all that time. So I'm going to try to do some of these things in parallel. We'll see how much of that I can do in parallel. So this is my M1 machine over here, and we're going to follow the exact same steps here. So here is that stable, B stable, I guess that's the stable branch. All right, let's make this bigger. Let me know if you all can see that. So we're going to go to the Flutter directory and do a git clone here as well. Okay, back to the MacBook Pro. So Far From Heaven says, oh, finally Flutter. Yeah, took me a while, but here we are. I'm trying it out. Why not? Bera says, React.js native beginner I am. Sivaram says, are you running on Rosetta? So to answer that, yes, this is going to run on Rosetta. Because Flutter is not out, as far as I know, is not out yet with full support for Apple Silicon, for the ARM architecture. Okay, so we need to update the path, and we need to point the path to the one we have here. All right, let me help you open up VS Code. What's all this? We don't need this. Let's open up. Wow. Okay. Just want to open up my home folder here. And bash profile. Okay, good. Export path equals. All right. So we want to users, Alex, code, Flutter. I just want to point it to the Flutter bin directory, apparently. I'm going to append that to path. And I think that should do it. Okay, why are you making noise already? What? I'm not even doing anything right now. This Intel machine is going nuts. Okay. So we are here. Now I want to restart my terminal because I want those changes to take effect. And let's make sure that we have that in the path. Do we have Flutter here? No. What? All right, folks. Did I edit the wrong file here? Is it here? Is it here? How many different paths do I have? Okay. Let's try this one. I think this might be the one. Okay. I'm gonna close this out again. Restart it and echo path. Is Flutter here? Yes. Yes, Flutter is here. So if I run Flutter now, it should do something. Oh, what's it doing? It's downloading stuff while I just run the Flutter command? Really? All I wanted to see if it's... Okay. I just wanted to see if it's installed and if it's going to give me a menu of things to do. But I guess it's going to download stuff for me. Okay. That's a new one. All right, let's switch back to this M1. and do the same thing here. So now we have cloned the repo into the same directory. So now I got to find that same exact, I got to find where I have my path again and do that. Here. Open. And sure. So who wants to bet if it's this file or if it's the bash profile file that's going to change my path? Who knows? Oh, okay. Let's go with this one. Export path equals, and let's do the same thing. Users Alex code Flutter, and I'll get to, I see you're typing away over there, so I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Let's just make sure that this all works here with the path. Close this. Echo $path. Do we have Flutter? Yes, we do. Okay, we're good. We are good to go. Let's run Flutter here too, just so that, I don't know what it's doing. It's probably, it says it's downloading Dart, so I guess it's the first thing it's gonna do. Anyway, I just want to make sure we're on the same page on both of these machines. Flutter version. Cool, okay. So we're on version 2.0.5. We got Dart. Looks like we're good to go. And the docs say to run which Flutter. I mean, that's, we already know that that's working, so that's fine. Okay, so I think we're good, right? Where's the next step to? Now I already have my simulator set up, my Xcode environment set up, because I do mobile development anyway. So, and I've already done it on both of these machines, even though I don't normally develop on my M1. I just use it mostly for this stuff right now, for showing videos and testing. But I did set up my Xcode environment on the M1 and it was working, so hopefully it'll keep working. All right, let's get to some of your questions before I continue. I want to ask again, since some more people showed up, who here is a Flutter developer? All right, so what do we have here? Coding Mastery says, bro, change your thumbnail. You know, I try to. And YouTube is weird. Especially the live streaming setup is really not very intuitive. All right. Barra says, no, the thumbnail is just the M1 chip image. Okay. Yeah, that's the one that I uploaded, the latest one. So hopefully that's the one that shows up. Coding Mastery says, bro, make a video on machine learning model training in M1 versus Intel. Yeah, that's on my list to do. I have some machine learning stuff in the works, and I will be hopefully doing a video on that soon. Kunal says, hey Alexander, will you buy M1 iMac 2021? And their answer is no. I will not be buying that machine because I already have an M1 machine and I don't see that the iMac is going to add much value to my setup. I'm using an old iMac over here, a 2014 iMac. That's my big one over here where I'm seeing your chat. And it works just fine for me. It's not as fancy or as fast as the M1, but it's gonna work and do the job. Pratik, hi Pratik, welcome. Superovsky says, hi Alex, I got a question. I'm not a Flutter developer, but can I use Flutter to develop Android apps on the M1? Well, if you want to develop Android apps, and I've mentioned this before, the M1 is not quite ready for that. I'd say wait, don't do it yet. You can do it, but it's not a very smooth and pleasant experience quite yet. Now, if you want to develop iOS apps with Flutter, then yes, it's going to work well. But we're actually going to test that right now to see if it'll even come up on my machine. Theoretically, it will. Acidulas says, good evening. Hello, welcome. Sharwan says, should I go for Mac M1 for my computer science degree? Yeah, computer science is pretty general, so any machine will do, really. Okay, let's continue. So we're pretty close over here, and it looks like this is the next step. It's telling me how to create a new app and run it. So this is going to be my first time creating and running a Flutter app. So far it's been pretty easy. Let's keep going. So over here I've created a Flutter folder, and this is where I'm going to create a new app. Flutter create my app. Boom. Should I be timing this? Should we race these two machines against each other, do you think? To see how long it takes and who is faster? I mean, this is just the creation of the app, so does it really matter? It's not gonna, I mean, one is gonna take maybe a second less than the other one. It's not a big deal. Maybe we should do that anyway. I'm gonna delete that folder I just made. And hopefully Flutter won't be mad at me. Okay, so we are gonna race this. Looks like folks are saying, yes, let's do it. All right, well, let's do it then. Here we are on the Air machine. Code, Flutter, and the command is, what's that command again? I should remember this if I'm to make these, right? Flutter create my app. I don't like putting the underscore in there, so I'm just going to do that. Same thing here. Okay, so I've got both of these set up, and all I got to do is press enter. And you know what? Let's just add the time command at the beginning, so we have exact numbers. And let's do it. Boom. What? Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So it looks like when I ran that command the first time on the MacBook Pro, it did some things. Let's go back. It did some stuff over here before it created the app. It downloaded some extra stuff, and it didn't do it the second time. So this test wouldn't have been fair anyway, because it looks like it still needs to download stuff before it even creates the app, and it probably caches it. So it didn't work because that name is not valid. Bummer. Okay. I really hate putting underscores in there, but maybe that's the Dart way. I don't know. So let's change that to the way they suggested in the documentation. Time, Flutter, create my underscore app. And I'll do the same thing over here as well. Did I create a folder, by the way? Let me just double check. No, it didn't. Okay, good. My underscore app. Okay, now we are ready and set up. Let's do it. What? Oh, wow. The Intel one won. Yeah. Looks like the Intel one beat out. We got 1.95 seconds here. On this one, we got 2.96 seconds. Yeah, so on our simple little test, the Intel machine won when we create a Flutter application. So that could be maybe because the Flutter CLI, when you access it on the M1, it needs to be translated through Rosetta at runtime. It's not, maybe it wasn't cached. I don't know. So that could result in a slower performance. All right, let's keep going. The next step is to go into the folder and do the run command. All right, so let's do it. We're going to go on this Intel machine, go into the folder, My App, and we're going to run command. And I believe that was Flutter run, right? Or do we need to? Flutter run. Okay. Yeah, let's time that. And same thing over here. CD My App, time, Flutter run. I've set it up. Let's press the key at the same time and see who wins. Boom. It's downloading some web SDK. So it's got a little bit of a dependency again on the web and downloading stuff. So there is a little bit of a competition between these machines for the network resources at that time. And it looks like the Intel machine started up the browser. The browser? Why is the browser coming up? Shouldn't the simulator come up or something? That's kind of weird, huh? Okay, the browser came up on this one as well. Much slower on the M1 so far. And that's probably due to Dart. So let's take a look at how long that took here. Oh, this is actually printing out all this information and the times for us right there. So 13.3 seconds on the Intel machine. And let's check out this one. 12.1 seconds on the M1. And this could be a result of the download? No, the download is actually a separate report here. The download is being reported separately, so we can take a look at the launch time right there. 12.1 seconds on the M1, 13.3 seconds on the Intel. So not much difference again. I mean, again, this is not like about, you know, comparing these two. I want to make sure that this thing even runs on the M1, and this is my first time trying it, so got to start somewhere, right? Thought I'd share. So let's check out some of your comments here. Xion says, I'm an Apple developer and an Xcode. Works perfectly fine with Rosetta or native. Fat Ho says, I'm gonna buy M1 Mac Mini. I think it's good enough to beat my MacBook Pro 13-inch 2018. Yeah, probably depends on what you're gonna be running, but in certain things, yeah, it's probably gonna be faster. All right. I'm an Android Flutter developer, and I think it's okay to switch to M1 Macs. It's very bold. Very bold. Okay, so Coding Mastery says, use the Flutter Doctor command, bro. What does that do? Just tell me what's wrong with the environment? Let's see. I'm going to terminate this process and run Flutter Doctor. Doctor summary. Okay. I guess it's going to test my environment. I'm going to do the same thing over here on the M1 too. So it looks like my CocoaPods is out of date. Is this still going to run with the slightly older version of CocoaPods? I hope so. Okay, so it looks like it ran Flutter for web, which I don't want. I want it to run my iOS simulator. What did I miss over here? I want it to run for iOS development, not for web development. Any ideas, folks, why it brought up a web browser instead of the iOS simulator? Do I need to say iOS on the command line or something? Ah, does this say we need to open the simulator first? Maybe. Okay, let's do that. Let's pop open the simulator first. iPad Air, come on. Okay, that's fine. And over here, I'm going to do the same. Open -A simulator. And this one did iPhone 12 Pro Max. Well, I have to have them the same. I can't do two different ones. So I'm going to have to delete some of my simulators. It's very annoying when the iPad simulator comes up and I'm not trying to develop for the iPad. I find that tedious. All right, who all can hear my Intel machine really being very loud right now? If you can hear all that fan noise, that's coming from right over here. Hopefully it won't crash. Okay. All right, there's my Xcode. Let's go to preferences. Ah, that's not where I need to go. I need to go to, oops, devices and simulators. So when I develop mobile apps, I don't want to specify the simulator because I don't know, lazy. I know I can add that to the command and just trigger an npm command, but I just go in here, and most of the time I don't develop for the simulators for the iPads. I just develop for the iPhones. So I just delete the iPad simulators from here, and then it automatically has no choice but to bring up an iPhone simulator. But the next time that Xcode gets updated, it reinstalls those. And if you really want to get them back, you can just install, you can just click on this add here and reinstall your simulators if you really need it. So that's kind of what I do. Let's see what it'll launch. Okay, good. iPhone Pro Max is the next default choice. And now we're going to be on the same page. Whew. This thing is loud. Okay. So I'm going to set up, while that's starting up, I'm going to set this one up. And I know that this is going to be the secondary run, so it's probably not going to take as long to build it. Or maybe it will, because it's building for a different platform. But I'm still going to keep this app around and do it here. So I'm going to run the Flutter run command here, and we'll see how long it takes to come up in the sim. And I'm going to do the same thing over here on the Intel box. Okay, so I've got both of those set up to do the Flutter run command, and both of the simulators are up. So let's do it. Just make sure that this is selected. Okay, let's go. All right, it's downloading iOS tools. So there's again a dependency on downloading stuff. I guess it's the first time that it runs that it does that. Hopefully it caches all that stuff and doesn't do it continuously. Okay, running the Xcode build. I'm glad that it's reporting the times for every step that it's doing. Check it out. It's actually reporting the times for every download and maybe even every build. And folks, we have a winner. yeah, the M1, even with Rosetta translation, came up first by a significant amount of time, I'd say. Look at that. So the app is now operational. It's just a counter app, as to be expected. And this is my first time running a Flutter app. It looks good. It's got a little button here. You can press it, and it feels nice to have everything working with no errors. I like that. Okay, so we've got, let's just review the times here. So we're going to go back to the M1. Okay, we are looking at the Xcode compilation times, 5.2 seconds and 16.5 seconds on that. And over here on the Intel machine, 9.9 seconds for linking and compiling and signing, and 22 seconds. So yeah, that's a big difference. Now here's the next step. The next step actually was faster on the Intel machine. Activating Dart DevTools took less time, and syncing files to device iPhone 12 Pro Max took 59 milliseconds here. I mean, we're talking about milliseconds here. It doesn't really matter. It's probably going to change every single time I run it. But these two times were slower on the M1. So the build times were faster. These two were slower. Interesting. Okay, I think we should do it again just because I want to get some averages. So yeah, let's do that again. I'm going to terminate this process and set a command up again and do the same thing here. Now I am going to run the app. I'm going to leave the app running while I do this, and it should just, I don't know, refresh or something. So let's see how long this secondary one takes. Wow. So quite a bit faster on the M1 there. Yeah. Yeah, so the M1 says it was done in 4.3 seconds, the build, and the Intel 6.1 seconds. About the same as last time. So I'm going to create a new app. I'm going to back out of this directory, create a new app, and we're going to do this timing one more time just to confirm the findings. Let's go back to the M1 here. And what command did I use to create the app? This one. So we're going to call this one my_app2, and hopefully that's a valid Dart syntax. And let's do the same thing over here. Okay. I'm going to trigger this. And I mean, it created them pretty much at the same time. I think the Intel was just a little bit faster. But now it looks like all the dependencies for iOS were already cached on the machine, which is good. That means creation of a second application for iOS did not take long. Or that was not for iOS, they're just the creation for the application. Yeah. I think it's just getting everything here. iOS, web, and Android. Now the next step, this is where it detects the iOS device is open, and this is where it downloaded the iOS dependencies before. Hopefully now it won't. So I'm gonna do that run command right here, set that up, and set this one up as well. Now this is a brand new application just created. So that means that I already have the simulator up and running with a previous app. Now we'll see a different run of this, but hopefully now the iOS dependencies are cached, and now all we'll see is just the Xcode build time. All right, let's do this. But really, folks, I'm not seeing a huge difference here. Except for that. So the M1 is consistently beating it. And I guess after, if you're doing this all day long, yeah, so look at this. We got 12 seconds on the M1 and 2 seconds for compiling, linking, and signing. So that's a total of 14 seconds or so. And on the Intel box, 15.2 for the build and 4.1 for the compiling, linking, and signing. So that's at 19.3 versus 14. You're talking about 5 seconds per build. And I don't know if you do hot module or HMR or whatever, hot reload while developing. I know that Flutter supposedly has a really good hot reload. We won't do that right now, but I don't know. I guess the hot reload will be a little bit less time than that, but still, this is crazy because the M1 is actually running under Rosetta. So all this stuff is running under Rosetta. When Flutter is finally supporting M1 and Apple Silicon fully, natively, this is going to be even faster. So that's pretty interesting. All right, folks, let's take a look at your questions here or your comments. August says, by the way, I have Xcode, Node.js, Java, Postgres, MariaDB on my MacBook M1. What? Okay, Xcode, of course. Node.js, yes. Java, yes. Postgres, I've seen that does support ARM. Maria, I've never tried that one. Not sure what that is. I know MySQL doesn't work yet, so yeah. Nice. Support is getting there. Matthew Morton says, M1 is a very good machine, indeed. All right. Squaster says, any iPad software worth running on the M1? iPad? I don't know. I'm not a huge iPad user. I have an iPad and I use it for drawing and watching Netflix. So I don't use it as a productivity machine. Pratyash asks, does Android Studio have native support? I don't think yet. I don't think they do yet. Yeah. Alex says, waiting for giveaway. What giveaway are you waiting for? Not sure. I don't think there's a giveaway right now, is there? Unless somebody's giving something away in the comments. Less latency on the Apple SI. Silicon, I guess. So some things are much faster on the Silicon machine, yeah, because of the ARM architecture. Nadim says, what are the specs of your iMac? That is sometimes in your shots. So the iMac is an old machine. It's from 2014. It still runs very well. It's got 32 gigs of RAM, and it's got 1 terabyte of hard drive space. It was a beast back in the day. It's still kicking, and I use it daily. That's my main machine. 2014, that's 7 years old, and it's a really nice machine. I did actually run some tests benchmarking the M1 against my iMac, and the M1 just beats it pretty much in every single test. Why do I still use my iMac? Just because it's convenient. It's got a large screen and it's got a dock. I have so many different things plugged into it. I can't do that with the with the MacBook Air yet. It only has 2 ports on it, so that's why I'm waiting for the MacBook Pro later this year. Maybe I'll just upgrade then. I'm not getting, Mr. Guide, I'm not getting the new iMac. I'm gonna skip this iteration. Raphael says, I'm thinking about MacBook Pro, but don't know if 256 gigabytes is enough. Yeah, that's probably not enough. You're gonna run into a wall there pretty soon. Everton says, hello, you tested the Docker 3 optimized for M1? I'm in the process of testing it now. I actually did run some tests even today. It works. I haven't made a video on it yet, but I will. Emmy says, hey, love your videos. No BS, no clickbait, honest comparisons. Loved your April Fools. You almost got me. Hope your channel keeps growing. I hope you get noticed even more. Getting greetings from South America. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Jin Kurakura says, hope Android Studio will be optimized soon for M1. I do too. Especially because I do mobile development and I do mobile development for both iOS and Android. So I want it to work before I switch over my workflow to the M1. Ionic Ninja says, got 256 gigabyte version. Nice. And then Ionic Ninja says, I don't recommend it. Yeah. But, you know, there's always these things. Right? Coding Mastery says, is Python 3 optimized for the M1? I'm not sure. I don't know which version of Python comes with the M1. Is it still 2? Yeah. So 2.7 still comes with the M1. Oh, got myself stuck here. Yeah, I'm not sure about Python 3. So folks, yeah, that has been it for today. And I'm surprised that how many of you showed up this late on a Friday night. So Flutter, yeah, it runs, and it runs pretty well on the M1, just as a summary. Even though it's running under Rosetta, when it's fully supported for the ARM processors, it's probably going to be even better. And I'm thinking about doing a video to see which of the frameworks, React Native, NativeScript, and Flutter, which one of them is the fastest as far as startup time, reboot time, rebuild time, all those things. What do you think about that? Let me know if you want to see that. And other than that, thank you all so much for coming. Really appreciate you all. And I'll see you around.